Welcome back, everyone. We've been so excited to finally deep dive into Kubra Yusel's book, Inner Healing.
Oh, a fascinating choice.
It really is. This book just invites us all to explore, the depths of ourselves, that inner world we all have. And it's all about discovering the power we hold within to really, transform.
And have you ever felt like there's a part of you that just yearns for something more, a deeper sense of peace, like a wholeness you just haven't found yet?
Totally. Yusel actually suggests that true inner healing, well, it's not about fixing parts of us or erasing them. It's about understanding and accepting even the parts we, maybe consider flawed.
Or unwanted.
Exactly. It's like embracing, all of who we are, light and shadow, and then trying to find a way to integrate them.
She's really emphasizing compassion here, as a guiding principle, because it's easy to criticize ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
But Yusel wants us to approach ourselves with that same kindness we'd give to, someone we love.
That makes sense. So much of, self-help can be so harsh,
Yeah, and this is actually where the concept of the shadow self comes in. Carl Jung.
Oh, right.
So it's not about dwelling in the darkness, but seeing those hidden parts because they have valuable insights
into our motivations and behaviors.
Exactly.
Now, Yusel uses this term neurosis to describe this sort of energetic force in us. It's shaped by, I think, those experiences and information that we haven't fully processed or integrated into, who we really are.
Oh, that's interesting.
So could this neurosis actually be the root of the anxiety and the limiting patterns that we all struggle with?
That's a really good question. Yusel actually suggests that these symptoms, they're not meant to torment us. They're more like messengers, pushing us to, examine those unmet needs. Like our psyche is saying, hey, time to grow.
It's a nudge toward self-discovery.
Right.
Instead of being afraid of these challenging parts of ourselves or suppressing them, we can listen.
Yeah.
With curiosity and compassion.
Totally. I love that.
I remember this one time, I went through something really difficult, and it forced me to confront all these patterns I had been avoiding. It wasn't easy, but ultimately I grew so much from it.
It's fascinating how those moments of crisis, as painful as they are, they can become catalysts
for deep inner work.
Exactly. It's like we're being pushed to face those parts of ourselves we've been hiding, even from ourselves.
And confronting them, we can understand them.
And transform them.
Right. So this brings us to these core needs that Yusel talks about. Secure attachment, autonomy, freedom of expression, even playfulness, and healthy boundaries.
A lot of our struggles as adults, she suggests, they stem from unmet needs in childhood.
It's kind of a heavy thought, isn't it?
It is. It makes you wonder if those early experiences really shape not just our emotions, but how we see our place in the world.
Our whole understanding.
Yeah, and if those needs weren't met consistently, we could be unconsciously trying to fulfill them in our adult relationships and behaviors.
So if we constantly seek validation from outside ourselves or we struggle with boundaries, maybe it's because those needs weren't met when we were kids.
Possibly, and this leads us to, reparenting. It's a process of providing for that inner child, giving them what was missing.
So cultivating that compassionate inner adult voice.
That can offer the understanding and warmth and support, all the things our inner child may have craved.
It's creating a safe space within ourselves, a space to heal. But what does this healthy inner adult voice actually sound like? How do we know it's not just another critical voice we've internalized?
Well, the book describes several characteristics: patience, compassion, understanding, support, warmth, presence. It's treating ourselves the way we'd treat a close friend, with that same kindness and acceptance.
So instead of berating ourselves for our flaws, we offer ourselves encouragement and understanding and unconditional love.
Absolutely. It's about moving from self-criticism to self-compassion.
And as we build this compassionate voice, we start to develop a stronger sense of self-worth and emotional independence.
We break free from those old patterns of seeking validation from outside, and we find it within ourselves.
I love that. But it makes me wonder if childhood experiences and unmet needs are part of how our shadow self is formed. Does reparenting also mean reevaluating our relationship with that shadow?
That is a very nuanced question.
Can we reparent those parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable?
Maybe it's not so much about reparenting the shadow self, but about extending compassion to it.
I see.
If we can see those shadow aspects as wounded parts of us, then maybe we can start to integrate them into our harness.
Like inviting those hidden parts out of hiding and offering them a place at the table.
Exactly.
But how do we even begin to navigate such a complex inner world? What tools does UCELS give us for this journey of self-discovery?
Well, she offers a variety of tools, things that can support us on this journey of inner healing. She mentions therapy, journaling, self-education, and even like physical self-soothing as ways to really nurture that inner child and integrate a healthy adult voice. But they'll each resonate differently with different people.
Yeah, it's like building our own personalized toolkit, right?
Yeah.
For the soul.
Yeah.
We get to choose what works best for us.
Exactly.
In my own journey, journaling has been so helpful. It's how I process my emotions and give a voice to, like, those whispers from my subconscious.
It gives you a safe space for exploration
Yeah.
and expression. It's not about being grammatically correct. It's about capturing those raw feelings.
Exactly. Sometimes I just scribble or even draw.
Right.
Just whatever represents what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
It's like I can bypass my analytical mind and get to a deeper awareness.
I love that.
The book also talks about how valuable therapy is, especially the mirroring aspect.
Right. A good therapist is like a mirror. They reflect back parts of ourselves we might not see otherwise. It's like having a compassionate guide for this journey through our inner world, especially when we're dealing with, deep wounds or patterns.
It's interesting to think about how therapy can actually give us that secure attachment that might have been missing in our early years.
That's true.
If we didn't have that consistent emotional support as kids, could therapy be a way to correct that? A chance to rebuild trust and form healthy relationship patterns?
That's a really profound observation. It suggests that therapy isn't just about dealing with the past, but also about creating new possibilities in the present.
I like that. And the book also talks about self-education.
Yes.
Not just, traditional schooling, but lifelong learning.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about being curious, engaging with topics that resonate with us deeply. Could be reading, workshops, exploring different spiritual traditions, or even just having meaningful conversations.
It's about personalizing our growth journey, trusting our intuition, and following those threads that spark our interest. Have you found any forms of self-education that have been particularly impactful for you?
Lately, I've been really drawn to ancient wisdom traditions and contemplative practices.
Interesting.
It's amazing how these ancient teachings still offer insights into the human condition. It reminds us that some truths, they just transcend time and culture.
It's like tapping into a wellspring of wisdom that's been passed down for generations.
It really is.
And sometimes those ancient teachings speak to us even more deeply than modern approaches. The book also mentions physical self-soothing. As simple as it sounds, taking care of our physical body, it has a huge impact on our emotional and mental well-being.
It's like recognizing that our inner child needs to be nurtured, in a very basic way. Sometimes it's a warm bath, a cozy blanket, a good meal. Those can be as therapeutic as a deep conversation or a powerful insight.
Absolutely. It all speaks to how interconnected we are. When we care for our physical body, we nourish our emotions and our minds too. I find that spending time in nature can be incredibly restorative, just immersing myself in that natural beauty. Do you have any practices that help you reconnect with your physical self and feel more grounded?
Recently, I've been trying out mindful movement, like yoga and Tai Chi.
I love those.
Combining gentle movement with deep breaths and present moment awareness, it just creates this peace and harmony within.
It's like integrating body, mind, and spirit.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder that healing is holistic. It's not just about fixing our psychological wounds. It's about cultivating well-being in every part of our being.
I like that.
As we go deeper into this idea of inner healing, I'm realizing more and more that it's not a straight path. There's no set destination. It's more like a spiral, with moments of expansion and contraction, breakthroughs and setbacks.
Yeah, it's this continuous unfolding, peeling back layers, finding new depths within ourselves. And as we surrender to this process, we might start questioning old assumptions, challenging beliefs, even rewriting the narratives that have shaped our lives.
It's like taking back our power, becoming the authors of our own stories. But what about those moments when it feels really tough, when we feel lost or overwhelmed? What does the book say about those times?
Well, Yusul reminds us that it's okay to feel lost or uncertain. It's natural, part of the process. She encourages us to be kind to ourselves in those moments. And remember that healing, it doesn't follow a straight line.
It's a good reminder that we don't have to have all the answers.
We don't.
We can lean into the unknown and trust that things will unfold as they should.
Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come when we surrender. Let go of control. Let something greater guide us.
That makes me think about the shadow self again. If we see it as holding valuable parts of ourselves, parts that have been rejected or suppressed, how do we bring them into our wholeness? Can we reparent our shadow?
That's a really deep question. Perhaps it's not so much about reparenting the shadow self, but about extending compassion to it, seeing those shadow aspects as wounded parts of ourselves. Maybe then we can start to integrate them.
Like inviting those hidden parts to come out of hiding, give them a seat at the table.
Exactly.
But how do we navigate that complex inner world? What tools does Yusul suggest for this journey of self-discovery?
Well, she emphasizes self-awareness, cultivating a deep understanding of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. She suggests practices like mindfulness and introspection as ways to develop this inner awareness.
So turning our attention inward.
Yeah.
Becoming curious observers of our own inner landscape.
Exactly. And as we develop this awareness, we start to notice patterns, both positive and negative, that have been shaping our lives. We see how our past experiences, beliefs, and unconscious conditioning influence our present moment.
It's like shining a light into the dark corners of our psyche, right? Illuminating those hidden beliefs and patterns that have been operating beneath the surface.
Yes. And once those patterns are brought into the light of awareness, we have the power to choose whether we want to continue being governed by them or to create new, healthier patterns.
It's powerful to realize that we have the capacity to change, to transform, to evolve. But how do we actually begin to shift those deeply ingrained patterns? What practical tools or techniques does the book offer?
Well, she suggests one of the most powerful tools is reparenting. You know, as we cultivate that compassionate inner adult voice, we can start offering ourselves the understanding and support we might not have gotten as children.
It's like rewiring those old neural pathways, replacing self-criticism with self-compassion.
Exactly. And this reparenting can involve all sorts of techniques. Visualizations, affirmations, even writing letters to our inner child, all as ways to build love and acceptance within.
It gives us tangible ways to interact with those wounded parts of ourselves. Like writing a letter to your inner child, that can help you access those unmet needs and emotions that you might have buried for years.
Right. It's like opening up a dialogue between who you are now and that younger you who's still carrying those hurts.
And as we have that dialogue with compassion and understanding, we can start to offer those younger parts of ourselves what they always needed: the love, the validation, the support.
It's a beautiful way to reclaim those parts of ourselves and bring them into our wholeness.
You know, as we come to the end of this deep dive into inner healing, I'm really struck by how connected all these concepts are. It's like we've been weaving a tapestry. Each thread is a different part of this journey.
And what's so cool is that this tapestry, it's not static, it's alive, it's constantly changing as we change. Inner healing, it's not a destination, it's an ongoing journey.
A journey of self-discovery and growth.
Yes.
It invites us to explore who we are, embrace our shadows, and cultivate a deep sense of love and acceptance for ourselves.
And as we do that, we don't just heal ourselves, we help heal the world around us too.
If you could offer your inner child one thing today, what would it be?
What a beautiful question. As we wrap up, I really hope our listeners will take away a sense of hope and possibility. This journey of inner healing, it's an invitation to reclaim your wholeness, to embrace your true self, and create a life that aligns with your deepest values and dreams.
Remember, you are worthy of healing, and you have everything you need within you to begin this journey.
Until next time, may you all keep exploring, keep growing, and shine your light brightly in the world.